Hi everyone, we're now going to go through what's required for Quiz A for Human Nutrition 2. So a few things that you need to be aware of. So this is a closed book assessment, so it will use some kind of invigilator software which would need to be downloaded prior to the quiz. There's also a couple of practice quizzes for you to do before you do this quiz. So I do recommend that you do that. If you look in Module 1 and also Module 2, you'll be able to find those practice quizzes. Now, where they are located will be in the actual activity section. So for the way that each of the weeks, the modules are set up, so 1 week equals 1 module, and you've got resources that will relate to a reading or maybe a video, and all of these have been scaffolded to actually assist you with assessment. So I highly recommend that you do these because they are going to help you. So each module has an activity. So in module 1, and which is week 1, and module 2, week 2, you'll find some interactive quiz. So you can do them as many times as you like till you get 100%. Keep doing them, and yeah, they're a great opportunity for you to test your knowledge. So that's my first piece of advice. Now, these are going to be a combination. The questions are going to be a combination of multiple choice, predominantly multiple choice, and you've got 25 minutes to do it. There's going to be some short answers and also some long answers. So anytime that you get short or long answers, please make sure that you write at least a couple of sentences. If it's a long answer, it doesn't need to be referenced, but it can't be cut and paste from the internet because obviously you've got invigilator software, but also because that's pretty easy for us to pick up because remember, this is a closed book. So ideally it's in your own words and you need to write something about different topics. Now we have different quiz banks, so not everyone will get the same question. There's a multitude of quiz banks, which means that you'll all get similar weighted questions in similar topic areas, but there'll be different questions. Okay, let's talk about what's in the quiz. It's going to be the first 4 weeks, so module 1 to module 4. You'll need to look at fat-soluble vitamins. And fat-soluble vitamins, please have an understanding of what the functions of A, D, E, and K are. How are they absorbed? Like, is it different, say, than a water-soluble vitamin? Is there, what's the food sources? Like, what's the top food sources? What is the NRVs or the RDIs? When we look at NRVs, it's from the Eat for Health site, but also remember that if you were to use that site for an assignment, it's actually the National Health and Medical Research Council that is the reference. Make sure you understand deficiency as opposed to excess. And how will deficiency present itself? Is there symptoms? Can you visibly see these symptoms, or would it need to be, say, blood work to say that that person had a deficiency? What about excess? Is there physical symptoms? Is it, again, blood work? Like, how would you know, or could you know that they had excess? Could it be, we could say hypothetically that someone's been taking large doses of vitamin D, they could have an excess, but would you really know that by looking at someone? Are you going to see some physical symptoms? My advice is here, if you go back to one of the activities in Module 1, it asks you to develop like a PowerPoint presentation or just a worksheet that actually you chose one of the fat-soluble vitamins. And in that, you were going to look at a range of things. So it actually had was a discussion forum post in Learning Activity 3. And you were to create a 1-page PowerPoint slide with facts on the fat-soluble vitamins. You chose one of those. Have a look at your classmates to see they might have some other ones in there. You may have chosen vitamin E. They've got vitamin D. It's a great little resource for you for study notes as well, because you're going to do things such as choosing the top 3 foods and come up with lots of different foods if you can. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for you to have a look at what everyone else is doing. So I recommend developing your own worksheet on your fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, and then you're going to have in there those points that I put forward in that first slide at the left. Then we get into water, was your module 2, which was week 2. So think about water and electrolytes. We also went in here into the major minerals. So, why is water so important? What happens if we have too much hydration or we don't have enough hydration? What would be the physical symptoms? How would someone look maybe, or what other body systems are involved in terms of dehydration or overhydration? Think about, what the mechanisms of actions actually are. Think about also, why is water so important and where do we get water from? What's your sources of water? Obviously water, but what other sources of hydration or of water concentration? So also think about, what are electrolytes? What's your major electrolytes? And you would have gone through that in module 2. And what do electrolytes mean? Like, what are they? They're basically fluids that have got a slight electrical charge. Now, the difference between, we looked at things such as anions and cations being positive, anions being negative. So have an understanding of what electrolytes actually are. There's a great clip in module 2 about what electrolytes are by Dr. Mike. Have a look at that. It clearly explains what electrolytes are and what the chemistry is around that. Do you need to know that in that much detail in terms of chemistry? No, but it's a great skill to have because you will do that when you're looking at chemistry further down the track. Minerals. So we've already discovered and talked about your major minerals in week 2. In week 3, in module 3, you started looking at your trace minerals. Think about, what is the functions of all your minerals? How are they absorbed? Is it different from one to the next? Think about, do some things compete for absorption? What about if you were to take things at the same time? Is one going to compete with the other for absorption? What foods are going to impact absorption or enhance absorption? Is there some foods that will stop you absorbing, say, iron or calcium? What foods are they? What foods would enhance you absorbing iron? So we also need to have an understanding of deficiency and excess, and what, again, would that look like in terms of the presentation. My advice is, review all your minerals and have a list of all these points that I'm putting forward. Then we get on to module 4, which is week 4, physical activity. Now, this topic is a very big topic. There's a lot to unpack here. Go through the importance of macronutrients in physical activity. So your macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fat, what role do they play in physical activity? How much do you need of each if you were exercising or you're just sitting sedentary? What's the importance of each of those macronutrients? Also think about, do the needs change during the lifespan? So if, and we haven't got onto lifespan just yet, but we covered this a little bit in week 4 in terms of maybe there's an increased need for someone who was, say, pregnant, or that increased needs of protein, obviously more carbohydrate, but if someone was older, they would need more protein as well. Also, we went through, why is exercise so important? We all know that we should exercise, but why? What are the reasons you exercise, or it would advise, say, a person to exercise, but also thinking about, well, why is exercise really important for, say, children? Is it to strengthen their bones? So we're laying down bone mineral density. It's important to strengthen their bones and load those bones when they're young. What about if someone was older? They're starting to lose muscle mass. Is it important that maybe they start picking out some decent sized weights to actually start to load to help protect them against loss of muscle mass, sarcopenia, loss of bone as well? So try to think when you think about exercise, thinking back to the importance of it during the lifespan. Then we go on to the energy systems. So in module 4, we talked about adenosine triphosphate, adenosine molecule with 3 phosphate ions, and that is like the petrol that we put in the car. So each energy system is going to use ATP in varying amounts, etc., some more predominant than others. But if we can look at the anaerobic system without oxygen and then the aerobic system, each system is going to become more prevalent in certain types of exercise, depending on the intensity and the duration. So in this week, we're unpacking the energy systems, a little bit of the chemistry behind those energy systems, and also the types of activities and the duration and how those systems actually work. So as I said, quiz A is modules 1 to 4. You only get 1 attempt to complete it. Because there's short answers in here or longer answers, it's not graded automatically. Grades will be released after we've marked all, so everybody has marked their students. That way then you'll be able to look at those grades. This gives you a bit of an example of what multiple choice. You've all done multiple choice before. You basically choose correct answer, the correct one you think. You only get 1 go at it. If you make a mistake on that, let's say you want to go back, you can, but once you've submitted it or the 25 minutes is up, it'll kick you out of the system. Short answers. This would be an example of like a short answer, and this would be something that could be worth 6 marks. So you could discuss conditions under the deficiencies of which vitamin B are the most likely to occur and which body systems are involved, and how would these issues present in the body. So that just gives you an example. Obviously, vitamin B isn't something that we discussed this trimester. That was last trimester in Human Nutrition 1, but it gives you an idea of what the type of questions you'll be asked. You might be asked a few questions. So the advice here is not to probably just put 1 sentence. I would put at least a paragraph because you're getting 6 marks. So put 6 times the amount of time you would do for multiple choice, which is worth 1 mark. Okay, just remember the quiz opens on a Friday at 12 noon and closes the following Friday at 12 noon. Of course, if this changes, we would let you know. So marking your diaries, you'll also notice on MyLearn that it tells you when quizzes or when exams, etc., or when assignments are due. So good luck, everyone. And please make sure you do the activities that are in each module because I've scaffolded them particularly so that we can help you get through assessments.